Welcome back to Lantern Insights. This week for our full league, Tron Lantern won the poll, so that's what we are going to be playing this week. Let's just go over this deck quickly. We're kind of looking to combine Tron with Lantern pieces in order to lock our opponents out of the game. So obviously quite a few differences from many of the Lantern lists on the channel, as this will be my first time showcasing a Tron list. Obviously, when we look at the mana base, we got the Tron lands. Urza Saga is still powerful enough that we want to play it even with the Tron lands. And then just some basic forests, Yavimaya and Boseiju to round out the rest of the mana base. In terms of what Tron enables us to do, the main advantage of it is Karn the Great Creator. Just being able to tutor so many sideboard pieces in addition to the full Lantern lock, playing Lantern, Bridge, and Pixis all in the sideboard. It just really allows us a lot of flexibility, and Karn is a very powerful card, and so it's kind of the main advantage of playing Tron Lantern compared to other lists, just that ability to go a bit bigger. In addition to that, we're playing Chromatic Spheres, Stars for getting colored mana for either Ancient Stirrings or Sylvan Scrying. Something like Mana Silex. We play just two of. It helps filter our colors a bit more. I actually think we could maybe trim one. Mana Silex just for color fixing. We got Needle Relic as our graveyard hate because it can be recycled with Karn, exiling itself. Spellskite is another one. We play 2 copies. You could also play 3 or 4. I think recently, this version's a little bit different, but Mike Devo played a similar version on his channel. I'll actually link that in the description if you want to go check him out. He makes lots of great content. Would highly recommend. But he played a version with more Prisintron elements. So this has, we're not playing the One Ring in this build. I don't think it's a great card in Lantern. It's very hard. Often we're at a low life total anyway, so it's hard to really draw a lot of cards with it in order to find a second one to prevent you from dying, as you don't have a very proactive way of killing your opponent with a lot of extra cards, and it's not good with Ensnaring Bridge. That being said, his list is still very solid. We have three bridges, of course. 1 Mystic Forge. If we get up to lots of mana, it can help us kind of dig through the top a lot, and with our mana rock, like with Codex Shredder, we can usually control our top fairly well in order to get good cards. One card that I think is very important is the Underworld's Cookbook. And I found in a bit of testing with this is that you can often get maybe 1 or 2 lands stuck in hand that aren't great, and so either being able to have that flexibility against burn or just generally being able to discard has been very strong. Moving over to the sideboard, most of our slots are dedicated to Karn. So we have the full lock that Karn's essentially our 7th copy, or our 4th through 7th copy of these pieces. And then just Mortality, Elixir of Immortality, Curse Totem, Stone Brain can be very good if we're able to recycle it with Karn, like use it over and over. Liquid Metal Coating, Sundering Titan for things like Amulet, the 4-color piles, it's very good against. Another copy of Mystic Forge, Bottled Cloister, is good once you have Bridge out. You kind of need to have Bridge down in order for it to be good, but once you have a Bridge in place, it is very strong. Trinisphere, Storm, anything kind of going low to the ground. We want it for Torpor Orb, Needle, and then two Dismember for creature decks. That's about it for the main deck. Obviously still running the main key interaction of Ensnaring Bridge with Lantern to see the top card of both players' library, and then Codex Shredder allowing you to mill one player or the other. Hopefully this is all for the deck tech, and I will see you in game 1. Welcome to round 1. We start on the play, which is always good. And this hand, oh well, obviously easy mulligan here. This hand, I think it's fine. We can find action with Stirrings. Probably put the 2nd copy of Stirrings to the bottom. Obviously, it's not going to rely on a super quick Tron hand. And I think a bit different from regular G-Tron, where you don't you don't have to mulligan down to exactly Tron. You have a lot of reasonable hands that are not with all 3 Tron lands, and because your curve is lower than Tron traditionally is, we're not ramping up to 7, 8, 10 drops. We can rely on Tron a lot less. And we will probably just lead on Forest Stirrings here and go from there. We can go Forest, probably a Saga on turn 2. It will depend what we're up against when our opponent decides to join us. Might have stepped away a bit. I know the queue times were a bit long, just coming back after Moto was down for a bit, so might have just stepped away from their computer. Hopefully it won't be too long. I'll probably pause the recording here, and I'll be back when they come back. All right, our opponent has joined us, kept a 7, and yeah, like I said, we'll just lead on Ancient Stirrings here. See if we can find any like Bridge or Karn. It's most relevant. I think Shredder is solid here. We can go Relic into Shredder next turn. I could see an argument for Spellskite there. I don't think that would be terribly wrong. And let's see what they're on. Breeding Pool, Living End is probably the most likely, especially Breeding Pool Shock Path. But definitely a few options for them. We're going to run out the Shredder first. If they are Living End, this Relic should be fairly strong against them, but we will see. If they force it, they're definitely on Living End. So. Alright, so this is indeed Living End, likely trying to cycle into a Force, and they do find it. So Force pitch Architects of Will. I think this is a... I don't know exactly with this matchup. Obviously that main deck Relic is pretty good if we can get it back with Karn. In terms of sideboard, Stonebrain is about it. We don't have too much in terms of hate directly for Living End. Elixir, yeah, we don't really have much for them. Torpor Orb can be somewhat relevant. And here, I think back. I think we just run out a mine. So I guess we'll probably just gonna play the Star, and yeah, we'll pop it for green. We're gonna cast the Sylvan Scrying, but we want to have this added information, and we do see a Karn, which should be pretty strong, allowing us to get Relic back, and we just can grab a Tower. I don't know. Tron players can correct me. Maybe there's one it's correct to get. I haven't played a ton of Tron in my life. Much more Lantern than Tron. That's for sure. But next turn we are going to be able to Karn. We don't have Tormod's Crypt in the graveyard, so we're likely. Oh, they do bin a Force, which could mean they are looking for lands. I think is something they could be up to. I think we down tick Karn and just get Relic back, or we down tick Karn and get Bridge. I think are our 2 options. It does appear I think they would have slammed the land if they were on it. They do only have a Waker and a Curator of Mysteries in the yard right now, so they're not. We aren't dead in 1 turn if they do find a Cascader. We could also get Expedition Map with Saga in order to turn on Tron, but that's 2 turns away. I think I'm just going to be grabbing Lantern with this Saga and then using Karn to get Ensnaring Bridge. Maybe even playing this other Saga before the Tower. I haven't totally decided yet. Our opponent's definitely thinking. I wonder if they might have a Land Cycler in hand, or they're thinking about grabbing getting a land and then playing it. I don't know, maybe they're thinking about using cyclers on this turn. I guess they were just really thinking about whether or not to play that Boseiju. But like I talked about, we're not dead in one turn. It is going to take 2 turns of them attacking, which is good news, as we don't have bridge in 1 turn. We're going to need second turn for that. But we're just going to play tower and then slam Karn. I mean, if they have force, we're in trouble. They don't have force. So you're going to get, yes. I mean, they've already cast Living End, so we're just going to grab this Ensnaring Bridge and then hope that they don't draw into a force. If they don't, we should be able to dump all but 1 card in our hand next turn. So, and they will likely kill Karn here. I think they probably send the Curator at Karn, Waker and Shardless at us. But although they do know we have an Ensnaring Bridge in hand, Living End can be a very, it has pros and cons. I mean, our game plan of Ensnaring Bridge is very strong against them. However, they also have a lot of ways of drawing cards at instant speed, especially once we have the lock established. So even like our lock here with only 1 Shredder is fairly fragile, as they have a lot of Cascaders that they can kind of use at instant speed in order to draw cards that they want to. Yeah, like we thought, Curators going at the Karn, everything else at us. And I think they definitely would have forced the Karn last turn if they had force. I don't think that's super likely. Another bridge on top is good for next turn, as helps if they have something like Boseiju or Odawara in hand. Having a second bridge is very valuable. Floating green. Alright, they're going to cycle. We're going to yield to these Curator triggers. Like I've talked about in a lot of videos, there are a lot of triggers that you can yield to, as they don't really change too much. Odawara on top, we are dead to. If they cycle in response, we're going to let the Curator trigger happen, and then we are going to mill this Odawara. They don't control any legendaries, but we still don't want to let them have it, as they did force cycle for a land. So we know they have one. And I think we are dead here. We gotta shuffle with Lantern. Obviously far from ideal, but hopefully when we get the second bridge down, we can get something going. And hopefully that didn't draw them into force. So now we just kind of have to wait and see. We don't know what's in their hand, although based on how much they were digging for that Odawara, it's likely they don't have a ton of answers. And they do play it tapped, which means they didn't draw Odawara. It's very good. And the second bridge on top. I wonder if there is a bit of an argument to make constructs here. Oh, not anymore. Subtlety, totally dead. Can hit a few spell skites, but that's it. So we're not too worried about that. And like we'll make a construct next turn, and then likely just getting another Shredder, as at this point it's just about hopefully getting. They may have one more Boseiju and either 1 or 2 Odawaras in hand, I think, are the main things that we are worried about here. It's a Shredder on top that we would like to draw. We'll grab it off the almost grab Chromatic Sphere, as I'm very used to Codex Shredder being the topmost artifact. And Karn on top here should get things fairly locked up. Play Karn, and this might be a Cloister game. We might grab Liquid Metal Coating. We have a few options. Might just grab another Pixis first, as Exile is good against them, as it prevents them from getting those creatures back. I guess we could also get Liquid Metal Coating. I feel like there's a pretty decent chance they concede to that. We shouldn't. Subtlety. Yep, okay, so I guess there was also hits Karn. Kind of forgot Subtlety hit Planeswalkers, but not a big deal. I'll just put it on top, cast it again next turn. I mean, if they're spending their whole turn just playing Subtlety, I think we're pretty okay with that in the position that we're in. And Force here, yeah, we'll probably try to keep them off. I think there's few enough cards that matter. If this was game 2, I'd probably let them draw the Force, but because it's game 1, you know, they have relatively few answers to our deck main board, so it's just really just the lands that we care about. And they might have another Subtlety in hand for this Karn, but we'll keep putting it on top. When they do have 7 cards in hand. Oh, they let it resolve, and we have a fair number of options. I think the safest thing is just Pixis. We can get Liquid Metal Coating next turn and play both of them. I guess they could have Tidebinder to counter this ability. I mean, it would be a somewhat weird card for them to have. But just trying to, like, when I'm playing, I'm always thinking of kind of what possible cards, what combinations of cards like my opponents could have. Especially, I mean, it's less relevant in the discard lists when you get to see their whole hand. But in lists like this, where you don't have any way of directly looking at their hands, just learning Modern, learning play patterns is very useful. And I think I don't mind them hard casting a Curator of Mysteries here. Yeah, it's a good card, helps them filter their draws a bit, but by no means is it game winning or anything. Very similar to Dragon Rage Channeler, where we don't really care about the Scry/Surveil at all. I'm going to draw the Cookbook. They could have enough cyclers up here that I think this is a matchup where I just want to leave the Shredder untapped all the time. And we are going to get Liquid Metal Coating, as I think if they don't have an answer to it, I think it's somewhat likely that they concede to it soon. Actually, we're going to play out the Pixis first. Just want to have more control over their top card. We're going to follow that up with a Coating. And then next turn, we'll just start blowing up their lands. Oh, they've conceded. Alright, we got game 1 against Living End. Alright, Tron looked... No, we never hit Tron. I guess that was just Power of Karn. I think won us that game. That original Karn getting the Ensnaring Bridge that we would have died without, and then Karn just kind of sealing it at the end there. Where I think we were in a commanding position, but Karn just helped close it out. I don't think we bring anything in. It's all kind of there to get hit with Karn. Relic is very relevant in this matchup. It's one card you sometimes shave, but in this case I think we just run it back. This deck definitely requires a lot less sideboarding than most versions of Lantern do, which in some ways is an upside, makes it a bit easier to play, but also probably means we have a bit worse post-board matchups. So I think Living End, they're cyclers. I mean, yeah, we don't... Pithing Needle obviously is going to go on the lands first. Something like Tidebinder they could be playing. I would be somewhat surprised to see that. If we look at modern lists here, Um, I'm not showing them, but just looking at them. Their sideboard is maybe a couple of copies of Force of Vigor, Brazen Borrower, or kind of our a foundation breaker is really what we're concerned with. So it will be likely at some point, if we can get a Karn to grab this Torpor Orb, we will, just because it's one of the best answers to Foundation Breaker, which they are able to bring back from the graveyard with a Cascader. So when they cascade into Living End, they can get Foundation Breaker back, which can be very strong. Void Mirror, I think, is a very interesting card. It's good against a lot of the Cascade decks, not only shutting down Cascade, but also Force of Negation and Force of Vigor. Not being played in this list, obviously, because it's also, when your mana base is like 16 colorless lands, Void Mirror is not a good card to play, as it will counter a lot of your own stuff. But it's a card that sees play in a lot of other versions. We got 2 games. We just gotta win one more and see what Tron Lantern can do. Don't really like this hand at all. Yes, we have Lantern, but Codex Shredder is going to be slow. We can find like another Tron land, but kind of lacking in payoffs. And overall, I think it's just too slow for what this matchup is going to be about. And I like this hand a lot better. I'm just going to put the Saga back. We got the potential for turn 3 Tron. Depends what we hit off of off of this Ancient Stirrings, and we'll go from there. We can also maybe use Stirrings to find a payoff. If we hit something like Relic, I think we'd be interested in taking that. And so we'll go from here. Again, I find more so in this version the first couple turns are a bit more setup. Just because you don't have that discard to really maximize your efficiency in your first couple turns. So a lot of setting up pieces. One thing I have found with these is that sometimes you get a few too many cards in hand. That's not super relevant against Living End, as all of their... Oh, that is Tron. So we're looking for a payoff here. And that's going to be card. So we'll see. They'll likely have some answer to Karn, as they will be prepared for it, but if they don't, they'll be in trouble. And of course, we have a lot of another Karn, Mystic Forge, a lot of good draws from this point. Bridge. Honestly, these land cyclers are very good in Living End, but they're also very good from our point of view, as being able to only get lands is a lot better than the cyclers that allow them to draw their top card of their library. So I think that's actually really helped this matchup, where their cyclers, if they see something good on top, they can't just use their generous Ent to go get it, which is a vast improvement for us. I think if they cascade here, we're not too annoyed. Importantly, if they want to cast Force of Vigor, they do have to hard cast that. Or sorry, if they want to cast Force of Negation. But I think they're just going to go for a Violent Outburst here. And again, they haven't assembled lethal, so we're fine with them cascading. They kind of have to have Force in hand, or else we're pretty ahead. We do see that they're playing Ley Lines in sideboard, just something to make note of that they could have at game 2. Well, they are going to rearrange the top of our library. They could be relying on that to keep us off things, and maybe they didn't hold Force up, but whatever we draw, they will know what it is. They may also try to keep us off Tron. I mean, I have no idea what the cards are. Architects of Will, always a very interesting card, kind of a mini Lantern almost. I guess if there's some way of getting Architects into play and then blinking it repeatedly, that would be a very fun, very slow deck. Very weak to removal. But they only put 13 power on the board, so we do have 2 turns to either have this Karn resolve or find a bridge. Yeah, we're going to yield to these generous Ent triggers. I mean, we aren't going to kill them by damage anyway, so we're not worried about that. Sylvan Scrying, I guess obviously they want us to spend mana on finding extra lands. Importantly, we can... Okay, they do a Force Pitch Curator of Mysteries, and we're not in a great spot here. Let's see what we hit off of this draw. Useless. Well, we are somewhat reliant on whatever we draw here. Don't think it matters a ton. So we just grab another tower, and we'll play the shredder here, and gonna have to draw into Karn or Bridge. Importantly, Force of Negation exiles and doesn't just straight counter it, so we can't. We'll have 10 mana next turn, so we couldn't spend 5 of it to get back Karn. I guess that wouldn't be enough anyway, but yeah, I think they likely have some form of interaction up here, so I don't think we are very likely to win this one, but we will do what we can. We got 10 mana available to us. One redraw. Did kind of feel like they were pausing there. Power plant. If we play tower, that's 6, 7, 8, 9. We spend 5 to get Forge back. Yeah, they got us here. I had the counter at the right time, and yeah, that is obviously one downside of this list, where we're not able to be quite as efficient, but we'll just run it back. Hopefully on the play we can get, I mean, it's hard to get under Force of Negation, but we'll do what we can. And I like this. This hand is significantly better. We can lead on Mine plus Shredder, followed up turn 2 Saga, turn 3 Bridge, and I mean, this is kind of showing why you don't need Tron really in this version. You know, we will kind of need another land if we want to resolve Karn, but if we go Mine Shredder and then Saga Lantern and then Forest Bridge and then next turn Karn, I mean, I think this puts us in a relatively decent spot. Obviously, Force of Negation or Force of Vigor are still quite strong against this hand. Leyline of Sanctity would be good if they mulligan down to it. Less good in this deck without discard. Only really stops the Codex Shredder, and we can still find a Pixis in the sideboard, use that. One card I was kind of considering was Mycosynth Gardens in the mana base in this list, but I think it's just a bit too slow, where on your early turns usually, I mean, you have other colorless lands that you want to play in your early turns, so not the best. They do take one mulligan here, which is always good. Force of Negation definitely gets worse the more mulligans you take, as it just takes up more of your resources to cast it. Down to 5, which is nothing but good for us. Alright, only down to 5. I think the lowest I've seen a living end go down in paper was a guy mulled down to 1 and then asked if he could mull again. So obviously that's pretty rare situation, but you know, London Mulligan definitely improving most of these decks. Now, okay, starting on a Street Wraith, that is one way of undoing a bit of a mulligan. And hopefully for them, they didn't keep a 0 lander with double Street Wraith. Okay, they do have their Misty. To be honest, we wouldn't mind an do we wait a turn on Saga? I'm trying to think our play patterns here. We can play Saga into Lantern, and then next turn Sylvan Scry. or next turn make constructs. I think we go for, I mean, obviously Force of Vigor blows us out pretty hard, but there's not really any time where Force of Vigor isn't gonna blow us out. Well, Stirring's on top. We have interesting decisions at this point. And Force of Negation. If they go to cycle, we are gonna mill it as Force cycle. Sorry. This is exactly what I talked about earlier in last game, where with Generous Ent they aren't able to draw the top card, they're just able to shuffle their deck. And Subtlety, if they want to pitch this Subtlety to stop Karn, activate abilities of artifacts and creatures can't be activated unless they're, holy smokes. Well, I mean, we are going to do our best to not let them get that. That is not a card I've seen out of Living End in, oh wow, not, yeah, definitely not every day you see that. I think we're going to try to hit either another land or another mill rock. We'll take the Shredder. Can go in any order. Bridge on top. Honestly, we may be getting Chromatic Sphere, Chromatic Star type effect with Shredder. Damping Matrix, eh? Holy smokes. And they are, and if they have Double Cycler, we are forcing them to use a lot of their mana. Force we don't want them to have. And if they cycle here, they can't Cascade. Leyline, totally fine for them to draw. It didn't appear like they had a ton of draw power there. Like they weren't really, it didn't, like they weren't pausing on any of our mills. Again, importantly, they got 11 power coming back. So as long as they're under 20 power, I think we're in a reasonable shape. We may mill this bridge on our upkeep. I think we definitely want that land. If we do get that land, we may slam Karn before bridge. But I think they have a Cascader here. Definitely going to mill this bridge. Relic, I mean, we will force them to use. Okay, so because they Cascade here, we're likely getting Star or Sphere, and then we're just going to slam Bridge, hope that they don't have Force of Negation. I mean, obviously that can be a lot to hope for, but we'll see. It didn't. And then I guess the question is now, I think we probably want the card, so we're going to grab the Chromatic Sphere. And that's not one we want. We could get Expedition Map, but I think it's quite slow here. And they do have Force. Force Pitch Subtlety. And this, when we have to go exactly land into Ensnaring Bridge on top, we can draw 2 cards with this Chromatic Sphere. But it's going to have to be pretty much perfect to get us out of this. This will put us down to 9. I mean, I think if we play Relic there, they're going to force that anyway. So not a huge change in what we're able to do. Yeah, Force of Negation is quite strong when you don't have access to discard spells and you're only playing at sorcery speed. So the versions with discard, you're able to discard it. The versions with War of Invention, you're able to use it at their end step, use it at their upkeep. You're able to play around it a lot better. I think this version is definitely definitely pretty weak to it. I mean, there's no world where they don't have a cycler here, right? So we can try, but we'd likely, well, they don't. Okay. Mystic Forge, yeah, we have to sacrifice. We basically have to go land into Ensnaring Bridge or bridge into land. Well, we got step 1. Let's see if we can get a bridge. We cannot. That is a good game. Tough one. Obviously, Force of Negation very strong against us, but let's get him back in round 2. Round 2, starting on the draw. I don't think this hand does much. I think it's pretty easy mulligan. Double Saga is not ideal. Another mulligan. Oh, well, I guess we're going down to 4. Just one of those games. And this is, I mean, this is like as good a 4 as you could ask for, probably. I mean, it's far from an ideal 4, but and this could be Living End again. Misty is a card they've been known to play. I mean, obviously one fetch land doesn't narrow it down totally, but they did. This will be interesting for sure. Obviously, you know, game 1 having to mull down to 4 is not great. Still could be Living End. It is Living End. So back-to-back Living End to start the league. Hopefully we can get one back. We won game 1 against Living End last time, but we didn't mull down to 4 to do so. And it'll really depend on how well we're able to filter our own draws with Shredder here. This multi-4 I think would be much better against a lot of decks that have trouble with constructs. I mean, this is what we want to see. Just need a 3rd land. Decks that have trouble with constructs, this multi-4 is much better against. I mean, are they going to force it? And this would be an interesting force. Alright, Grief in hand, we don't really want to let them have, but I'll let them go to cycle first. You gotta Striped Riverwinder, yeah, so here we're gonna mill Grief. And they don't do anything about that, which is good. Subtlety, we do not care about. They can cycle again if they want. Although, I kind of forgot that milling Grief would put it right in their graveyard for when they bring back their Living End. Like when they bring everything back with Living End. Slight oversight there. Maybe they need a 3rd land. That'd be good. Nope. Alright, we're gonna probably lose. Let me bring back 3, 8, 13. So we have, once again, have 1 turn to find an Ensnaring Bridge. Maybe they want this Oliphant enough that they will draw. I mean, obviously we're pretty behind here. I think Living End, overall, its thoughts on a matchup, I think it's very winnable. This version is probably not the best version against it. My overall thoughts, you know, I did a fair number of practice games with Tron Lantern before I started recording, and I actually found the Amulet matchup with it was, oh, they're just trying to assemble lethal here. 5, 10, 19. That the Amulet matchup was weirdly not terrible. Like I actually managed to win, I think it was 2 rounds against, oh yeah, we're super dead. 2 rounds against, and we only have 1 draw step. I guess we have this chromatic sphere. What is this? Yeah. 10-19. Which is not lethal. Unless they have another violent outburst in hand. However, we will cross that bridge when we come to it. I think we're just gonna mill myself here. Where's his mine? Alright, well, we got an upkeep and mill. And then we can get another rock with Urza Saga. We're gonna make a construct here to block something. Well, they're not going to attack with the Street Wraith. And we are still going to throw it in front of one of the 5/5s. Takes 5, 11 damage. We take 11 next turn. If we take it all, that's 16. I mean, might as well prevent some of it. We are still dead if we don't find anything. So we're gonna upkeep mill, and then get we'll take the draw step, and we're gonna float the mana off Saga, have 1 mill off the Shredder that we're gonna get. You know, we don't have anything. I guess we could get Sphere. It's basically the same. If we get Sphere, we have, I think Shredder's a bit better if we find it. And so we're gonna mill. And that doesn't save us, so we are gonna shuffle. And then we are gonna hit an Ensnaring Bridge. Or an Ancient Stirrings, actually. Nope, just the tower. Alright, tough one against Living End. So after winning our first game against Living End, just go on to lose 3 in a row. But it is what it is. And we're just running it back against Living End. Hopefully we don't get Force of Negation out of this one. I started saying earlier, but overall I think this Tron version is weaker than most other versions of it. If I had to rank the, if I had to rank some of the versions of Lantern, definitely putting this one lower to the bottom, but closer to the bottom, but not, it's not the worst deck to ever be registered to a league. So yes, we will absolutely take the play here. Of course, it was a rough multi-4 that game one. Obviously, not keepable hand here. And I'll take this one. We'll just put a Spellskite to the bottom. This is, whoa! Don't steal through turn. That is a bit scary. Almost skipped my turn. I hit F6 on the keyboard and then started skipping and had to turn off auto yields quickly there. They also waited till their second main to play a land. Alright. And they're going to fetch main, I guess. Alright. We're going to go power plant into Spellskite. Just go for highest upside. It will be turn 4 Tron, even if we don't. We'll be able to Sylvan Scrying next turn to get the mine. And going Karn into Bridge or Karn into, well, maybe not Karn. Obviously Grief is a Very, very powerful card. Pretty good against this hand too. Yeah, probably just have to go for Ensnaring Bridge off card. And they're going to take the Scrying, keep us off Tron, likely meaning that they think they're able to kill us or they have some other answer for Karn. Shredder here is a good card to play out. Obviously, this is not a matchup where you want to blind mill your opponent, as they're very focused already on getting things into their graveyard. And another Generous Ent, so they will have, I guess they'll be able to Grief Karn here, and 5, 11, 14? I mean, once again, we are just dying to a very, very fast combo from Living End. I mean, even, I think on their draw, even with the griefs coming from them, it would just be very hard for any version of Lantern to compete with this, as they're gonna grief us here. I swing for 11, 14, 15, 16. So we're not just dead. We are close to just dead, as they're definitely taking Karn. So we'll play the Sphere and be able to make a 4/4. So we can probably end up trading with the Oliphant. And yeah, of course they take Karn. No surprises there. Right, Spellskite gets destroyed. We will chump block. We can't even chump block, as it's going to give trample. So we are, for the fourth game in a row against Living End, asked to find a top decker bridge. I mean, we have Sphere for 1 redraw. They should target the Generous Ent. I don't think it matters here. Swinging for 6, 13, 16, and we can soak up 3 of it. I don't know what they could have here to stop that, but we'll stay at 7. And then we will pray for a bridge. Saga does not do it. Probably just get Chromatic Star. Chromatic Star gives us 2 redraws. Getting a Lantern effectively gives us sort of like 3, so we can Lantern, then Shredder, mill ourselves, Lantern, sack it, and then draw. I guess we'll do that. Go with Lantern here. We could, if we grabbed another Sphere, I guess, sorry, we have 5 mana. We might as well use the star. Importantly, we can't use this star, so we're going to have to mill ourselves. But Seiju doesn't do it, so we're going to have to sack. And then hope to draw a bridge. Nope. Doesn't do it. Relic too late. Oh, tough set of games there against Living End, starting, round 1 and round 2. Like game 1, I mean, we were able to win this first one, but the next 4, just Force of Negation, just really hampering us there. I don't think there's a ton Tron Lantern can really do to improve that. It's just a card that's going to be very strong against us, and there's kind of just have to accept it. Hopefully we can see something that isn't Living End in our next 3 matchups. But we'll be back for the start of game 3. Alright, starting off round 3 on the play. Yes, we would like to go first. Thank you very much. Tower, Power Plant, Lantern Treader, I like that. Double Karn might take a little bit to get to, but see our opponent mulliganing a little bit. Hopefully not Living End again. That'll be the 5 rounds of Living End matchup. There are versions of Lantern that I would be very happy to play Living End 5 times in a row. This is not one of them. But if you would like to see one of them, there are many other videos on the channel. Esper Lantern would be good against them. Absan would be pretty solid. Lots of versions are pretty good. Gemstone Mine, pitching. This could be Hardened Scales. So Karn is pitching Violent Outburst. So probably Rhinos, which is generally a pretty good matchup. However, they will be another Force of Negation matchup, which is, as we have seen the first 2 rounds, Force of Negation is a rather difficult card for our deck to beat. I think Gemstone Caverns is more common out of Rhinos than it is Lorien Revealed. That makes sense. They only have 3 cards in hand other than this land, so it's going to be difficult for them to have a force here. Not impossible by any stretch of the imagination, but this looks like Rhinos. Steam Vents is definitely more Rhinos-esque. Probably expecting an ice here. Not playing terribly quickly, but expecting to get iced. It is a pretty fast start from them. Yeah, they're gonna ice here. I mean, yeah, like I talked about, it's usually relatively easy to tell what opponents have in hand. And we're gonna play Lantern here. Natural Tron or Ensnaring Bridge are kind of our 2 main cards we're looking for. Map gets us Tron in 1 extra turn, and it'll allow us to have 8 mana when we get it, meaning we can play double Karn. They likely just have Rhinos here. I mean, this is 2 turns of pressure. Yeah, I don't have enough time. If I play Map, get Tron, I take 1 hit, and then we're basically dead to Force of Negation again. I mean, at least in this case, we're not just blind, not totally blind drawing. So we take the Map here, another tower on top, but we are going to get a mine. Because of Tishana's Tidebinder, we will, if they Violent Outburst, it's hitting us for 10-13. We have Power Plant, we have Tower, so we can grab Mine. And we'll go from there. We play Mine, we play Karn, we downtick, get Ensnaring Bridge. We have 2 cards in hand if they don't have Force of Negation. So once again, I'm asking you to not have Force of Negation. I don't think it's that much to ask, right? Like one time for opponents not to have the free counterspell from Modern Horizons. Like that's seems reasonable. I've been good this year, I should get it, right? But and yeah, obviously they're gonna attack. We do know they have more Rhinos in Violent Outburst, but I wouldn't. So they are going to pump it up to 13. Although they are tapped out now. Yeah, I mean, that does not mean they can't have force. Alright, well, it will all come down to whether or not they a land on top for them. Good sign. 3 cards. 3 cards in hand. We don't have engineered explosives. That would be an interesting card to play. Card. Resolves. This is a good sign. They could be holding the force for Ensnaring Bridge. Ensnaring Bridge. Cast Bridge and Pray. They're thinking. They didn't counter it. Alright, this is good. This is good. They could have Brazen Borer in hand, which we are dead to. But for now, this is very good. I mean, Brazen Borer we are just dead to. They didn't have force. So. Murktide is totally fine. They're going to play the Misty that we knew about. Still 3 unknown cards in hand, I believe. You may have seen them draw 1, but this is looking better than. Oh, they're gonna fire up Mutavault to kill Karn. We do have a second one in hand, so we can. Oh, they might swing at us. I wonder. Us. All right, they're just going. And if they have Violent Outburst, they can hit us down to 1. And then Bone Crusher Giant to finish us off? No. Okay, that's good. We have a fair amount of options here. Obviously, having Tron for all the mana in the world is very nice, and we're gonna start by drawing this second Codex Shredder. Playing it, and then this might be a liquid metal coating game. I don't think we have a Spellskite in our sideboard. Yeah, we don't have anything to protect Bridge. This could be Bottled Cloister. I'm gonna play the Saga. We do somewhat importantly have to get to just 1 card in hand. So that may be down to Karn. Get Liquid Metal Coating? Yes. Like we could grab Bottled Cloister here. I'm gonna go for Coating and try to. Nope, not that. Tap the power plant. Cast Coating using 2 colored mana. And see, like we're gonna play the second card, and I mean this might be enough for a concession. I guess it was technically correct to make one of these into an artifact. We're gonna keep the one on 5. I'm gonna turn Steam Vents into an artifact. I mean, yes, we are still dead to Brazen Borer if you have it. Tapping for red. Untapping. Double Stomp can get us here. There are a huge list of cards that beat us. Very narrow. There's definitely a lot of things they can have here that don't beat us. So that is good news. Blue Cycle Lord. Okay. We are fine with that. They grab a Steam Vents. We're gonna turn that. I mean, them cycling Lorien revealed there was pretty much the best thing they could have done, and we're just gonna start picking off their lands here. I mean, we gotta play quickly from this point, just conscious of time, but provided they're like 2 unknowns, they're pretty far mana-wise from being able to hardcast Lorien revealed, and we're just gonna keep turning their lands into artifacts. We don't have to worry about it as much as we would in more traditional setting of Lantern. Flame of Anor we do, however, have to worry about. I guess they could have one in hand. I think they would have played it and killed us with it last turn, so I would say I'm fairly confident right now. Trying not to be overly confident, but I think we're in a very commanding position. I think this version of Lantern, maybe more so with others, has a few less decision trees where they mainly center around Karn, fewer kind of sequencing decisions, similar to what you might have with an Abzan, Esper, any of those type of shells. And they're going to go to second main for some reason. Maybe they thought we had 2 cards in hand. We're going to mill this Flame of Anor. We do know they have a Elorian revealed in hand, which they will never cast. Tapping. What are you tapping mana for? Trying to Tidebinder? And Tidebinder would be good here. Shutting down 1 Shredder would be strong. A Fire Ice would also be good. They have cards. Just thinking it through, I guess. Nothing wrong with that. They concede. Yeah, so they didn't have anything in hand. Power of Karn. This is another matchup where sideboarding is going to be very straightforward. Dismembers, not really for this matchup. I guess they could have Magus of the Moon. I wonder how much Magus is being played in normal versions of Rhinos. I know it's currently all the way up to the second most played deck in the format, and basically their entire sideboard is good against us. If you go to Goldfish, the sideboard reads Blood Moon, Brotherhood's End, Endurance, Flame of Anor, Magus of the Moon, Mystical Dispute, Tishana's Tidebender, Force of Vigor. Those are their 15 cards in varying numbers, and Endurance is probably the only one there that isn't super relevant, and even it is still pretty good. So I think it's important to get game 1. I think is very crucial. Looks like typically they're running either 1 or 2 copies of Magus, 1 or 2 copies of Blood Moon. I think we'll just leave it like this. I want to bring in, I guess worst comes to worst, can always kill a Rhino, and then we'll just trim Relic. Not very relevant in this matchup. So bring in 1 Dismember. If we see more Magus of the Moon, we can always bring in a second one. But we will cross that bridge when we get to it. We have basically nothing relevant in this matchup in that hand. Once again, we have enough redraws that I'm half tempted to keep this. I guess we'll see if they go down to 5. They kept 6. We go Mine, Chromatic Sphere. Turn 2, Stirrings. Hope to hit a payoff. I think we just go down to 5 here. I guess we keep it on the draw. Put back a Needle and Karn. And hope that either of our first 2 draws or the Sphere can get us into another land. And provided we hit that second land, map can get us to our 3rd land, then we're in a good spot. Spellskite is strong in this matchup. Brotherhood's End is going to be a card that is very difficult to beat, and they should be able to mulligan fairly aggressively to it. Likely holding up Fire Ice here. And we probably just have to pop this for no No value. Just to ensure drawing that second land. Though we are actually relatively close to Tron here. I wonder if they force map, just seeing us draw so aggressively. We'll definitely float. Or if we go for bridge, kind of force them to have a counter, and then Force of Vigor, lovely, fair, balanced Magic the Gathering card. I hate Force of Vigor so much. Like, I absolutely don't let me spend another video just ranting about Force of Vigor, but oh man, is it ever a very sketchily designed card. Like, holy smokes. Like, it's... Oh yes, you can take 2 cards of yours. Like, what did they pitch to it? Shardless Agent. Whatever. Not super relevant. Pitch Agent, get nice, 2 clean, 2 for Flame of Anor on our Expedition map. Wonderful. Flame, it's 1-for-1 removal. That's always existed in Modern, always will exist in Modern. It's not, it's not really that much worse than people playing something like Disenchant in their sideboard. And we're going to get Fire Iced again. And we do nothing. I mean, like, Flame of Anor, not a problematic card at all. Force of Vigor is like a free 2-for-2. So like they're not even down on cards when they cast it. They're just huge tempo swing, like blowing up land, mill rock, land bridge, land anything. They do only have 1 card in hand, so if we can peel a couple lands, should be in all right shape, but we kind of have to peel those lands quickly. Tower does not complete Tron for us, but does get us a Spellskite. And then 1 card in hand. Wonder what it could be. They could have another Force of Vigor, another Flame of Anor. Either of those would be pretty bad. But we are going to play Bridge on this next turn here. And Spellskite is going to get to soak up a bit of damage, kind of reducing it to a 3-turn clock instead of a 2-turn clock. Dead Gone on Spellskite. And if that's one of their 2 cards, I think I'm fine with that. 5 mana, Lorien Revealed, alright. That is, I mean, that's the strength of Lorien Revealed, just being able to refill your hand just like that. Well then, a sweet Natty Tron. Do you have a force for this? Do you have a force for this? Yes, I would like to reveal. And going to be a Sundering Titan. Which can kill 3 of your lands. That's it. Alright, kind of thought Sundering Titan was going to hit a few more there. Don't have another Force of Vigor. I mean, Sundering Titan is going to put them down to just 3 lands. They have another Lorien Revealed. Oh, Boseiju on Bridge. It's actually not the end of the world here. I mean, we can't cast Sundering Titan, but... Oh, yeah, we can still cast... Sorry, I thought they Boseiju to Tron land. I think we're still in reasonable shape. Oh, I guess I could have just redirected that to Spellskite. So that's going at me. Those 2 are going at Karn. Karn dies either way. We're just gonna block the agent and play a 7-10 that should be pretty hard for them to deal with. Costs 8. So still leave us with 3 mana up. If we draw land, we can play Sundering Titan and Karn in one turn. And another Boseiju here is very strong. More Rhinos? I mean, if they play more Rhinos, we still have that Ensnaring Bridge in the board. It is indeed more Rhinos. Alright, more. So we can't play Sundering Titan, as we will just die to Rhino Beats. But we can play another Karn. We got Sylvan Scrying, which is actually positive mana here. Get a Urza's Tower. Play Urza's Tower. Play Karn. Down to Karn. Yes. And grab Ensnaring Bridge. And we're going to slam Ensnaring Bridge. And this time if they go to destroy it, we'll be redirecting that to Spellskite. And then we can play Sundering Titan next turn. I mean, we do just die to a Force of Vigor. Fair number of cards that we died to. Sundering Titan was probably incorrect to get. I think I got a bit overzealous in wanting to. We need a second removal spell. Tidebinder, eh? If they Tidebinder here, what I can do is I can just do this. Ha ha! Now what are you gonna do? Now this is destroying Spellskite. Now would you like to counter a activated ability? So Tidebinder doesn't beat us there, and they do just have one card in hand. I mean, it still doesn't beat us, but yes. Honestly, we may grab Mystic Forge here from the sideboard. They have one card in hand? That may be something to consider. Will depend on what we draw. We have 3, 6, 9, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 mana here. Wouldn't Walking Ballista be nice? I had Walking Ballista in the sideboard at one point. I removed it like a fool. I think we get Forge. And try to chain off some spells from top of our library. And you can tap that for Forge. You can cast most of our deck. Not how it... Blood Moon. I mean, that's going to be good. Next turn. Would have been even better a turn earlier. But it's I mean, Blood Moon does not win the game for them here. Especially if they fetch. They don't have Tidebinder up. They're one card in hand. I don't know what it could be. Not able to predict this one. Our opponents haven't been super fast tonight. Definitely, I mean, Lantern Leagues usually tend to be a bit slower. Chromatic Sphere is actually really good here because if we have a land on top, which we do in this case, we can use it to remove said land. So we're going to add green, draw a card, Boseiju can kill a Blood Moon. 6, 7, 8. I mean, so Blood Moon we don't care about at all. So we're just gonna. Alright, we're just gonna destroy the island, the mountain. I guess we take them totally off blue mana. And we could fetch more, but if they fetch, they lose Blood Moon. And I think we're in pretty good shape here. Like we play, destroy their Blood Moon. They're gonna fetch it away. I mean, I like our position. Violent Outburst, we don't care about. I mean, I think I likely besiege this Steam Vents, as both Brotherhood's End and Force of Vigor require double colors, and so leaving them with just one color of mana seems pretty good. It's going to depend on what's on top here. Sylvan Scrying is not useful, so we'll get rid of that. Another Boseiju is also not tremendously useful. And target nothing with Karn. And then we'll likely Boseiju in their draw step after they draw the island, but before they can play it. I guess we'll see what they draw. Violent Outburst we don't care about. Reveal basically the rest of their deck. Blood Moon, 2 Maguses, Brotherhood's End, Force of Vigor, Boseiju. Okay. You got it. Make your Rhinos. I mean, yeah, at this point, like we're in Protect Bridge mode or die. Like that's kind of what we've been in for a while, so that doesn't really change much. Lorien revealed. I think it's probably fine to let them have. We do know they do have Basic Island. Oh, they do get to kill Karn here. Not great, but we'll fight through it. If we find a Codex Shredder, we'll likely get a Karn back. We could use our Boseiju to destroy our Sundering Titan. To destroy all of their lands. This is something we will look at doing, depending on what is underneath said Boseiju. We get a... Oh no, it says opponent controls. Never mind. Ignore all of my thinking about blowing up our own Sundering Titan. That is not a legal play. I think it's Stomping Ground with Brotherhood's End on top. I mean, we are gonna destroy that Stomping Ground again. You have a Mile Cradle of Growth. Well, that is very useless right now. Oh, let's see, a Karn, Pixis, Codex Shredder. A lot of cards that are relevant here. Let's play a Lantern. Expedition Map does something. Mainly let us cast the next card down. And have another way of shuffling our library. I mean, kind of just gotta stay off lands here. Another Expedition Map. In a lot of ways it's mana neutral. We can get another tower. Chromatic Sphere. Like we're digging for very specific cards here. Fortunately, with so many lands on the battlefield, we are in relatively good shape. This will cast off the top. I do gotta be sort of conscious about clock. We're definitely If we don't find a way of winning this game, it is going to cause some problems for us in game 3. So I am finding the computer a bit slow. Yep, Codex Shredder off the top. We will cast. Yeah, Mystic Forge just completely winning this game for us here. Let me cast a Codex Shredder. I don't even think there's much they can do here. Okay. I mean, they don't even have double red. They're not going to have double red anytime soon. But just in case, we will get this Pixis of Pandemonium. We're going to play Pixis of Pandemonium. And they're very dead here. Obviously, quite a long game, but I mean, this is Mystic Forge, Karn the Great Creator paired together are both very good. We'll see how long they continue to play it. I think we're going to crack a map here for our last Urza's Tower. Never mind, we have... Where's our last Urza's Tower? I don't know. I guess we get a mine. Must have gone somewhere. And... I don't really want to draw mine, but I don't really think we have to do much this turn. Yeah, we'll lose the mana. We can still make a construct, but yeah, we're in pretty good shape here. Force and negation doesn't kill us. Brotherhood's End does, like I said, like I said earlier, if they have Brotherhood's End in hand, we are in a lot of trouble. But we're gonna downtick on grab Liquimetal Coating, probably get Liquimetal Coating forced, but not even that worried about that. Mutavault. Oh, I should have made a construct. Constructs are super irrelevant here. It's always just the sheer amount of mana that we have. Tron dreams of having this much mana. And this is actually a situation where even something like the One Ring would not be exceedingly powerful here. I mean, I guess we just go for the classic you are already dead. You are already dead. Classic. This is the peak Magic content that you are all here for. Reveal an artifact. Yes, sir. I mean, you can see we have another Karn on top. Like we got 9 minutes to close it out. I will try to do it quickly, but I'm not. You can concede at any time. I guess they were not happy with our Pithing Needle name, but it is the card to name with what you gonna do when we come for you, bad boy, bad. Yeah, it's Pithing Needle. You're already dead. Like this is peak content right here. We'll play this mine from hand. I'm gonna play this tower. Tap it for Karn. Alright, this is kind of slow, admittedly, but alright, we may just start milling them out. Wonder if they have a Shuffle Titan or something. That's what they're waiting for. They're dead. Alright, start blowing up their lands. Game is going fairly slowly. TGO is chugging. I don't have the best computer for streaming and recording and running Moto at the same time, and Moto was down earlier in the day. So we'll see how it does. Not too worried at this point. 30 cards, 8 minutes left. We're looking at like 4 mils a minute. It's a mil every 15 seconds. That's pretty easy. It's 104.3, right? Just gonna double check before. MTG rule 104.3. Nope. Yep. And rule 104.3a is very useful here. Rule 104.3 states a player can concede the game at any time. So it is applicable to our current situation, and let's just start milling them. If I get another Pithing Needle, I will definitely be naming something like Invoke Despair. I wonder if there are any cards about Salt. Salt the Earth? Fruitless Toil? Something like that. That's why you play Lantern. Oh, I only have 20 cards left in my deck. Alright, well, time to mill them. To a turn. Definitely almost forgot about what was in my deck, and oh yeah, we gotta blow up a land of theirs. Gonna take out a forest. Don't want them having access to hardcast Force of Vigor, which they obviously don't have. Easy win. I mean, this is what, clean 2-0 against the second best deck in the format. Could it have been a bit cleaner? Yeah, probably. I mean, Magus of the Moon? I don't care. I'm just gonna blow up all your lands, sir. And I wouldn't mind finding another Codex Shredder. That would be very useful. It is one card that I will play from the top. There aren't a ton of cards that I'll play from the top now, just as I realized how many cards I had left, but yeah, Stirrings. Hopefully find a Codex Shredder. Basically the only thing I care about here. I mean, do you want to use a force, pitch of force? Codex Shredder, any order. And then we'll play a Codex Shredder. And I believe they have Force Pitch Force available. I don't really care about a graveyard. I will down tick Karn to get this Codex Shredder back. But if not, I'm just going to blow up their land. Totally winning the game. We may be taking a screenshot of this for engagement, community posts, something like that. I mean, this is kind of the fun part of Lantern. I don't know if I ever will stream, but I guess the reason to stream Lantern is that these times where I've completely won. There are no decisions really to make here. Like, you mill them, the cards that get them out of the lock, and you don't mill the ones that are fine. So there's like no decisions to be made. It's just kind of time filling, and that's where it would be kind of fun to stream. I may do it at some point in the future. No immediate plans to stream. Always yield. And we're just gonna mill them a couple times. So sorry, like I was saying, no immediate plans to stream. Maybe in the future, in a little bit, but I can't cast Fire and Ice, so I don't care about it. Saga can always fail to find. Ooh, computer is chugging. I may actually just pause the recordings here, as it. I'm not sure. We'll see. If I get into time trouble, Alright, we're just going to blow up their last land. And then, I mean, we gotta play fairly quickly. I guess we can start, at this point, start yielding through, yield through turn. Yield until next end step. They can't cast anything in their hand. So yeah, like I was saying, this time where we are doing nothing is easier to pass when you can like talk with chat and stuff. It's currently just like me chilling at 2 in the morning. 2 a.m. leagues after Moto was down for a little bit. So I guess anyone playing now is either waking up in Europe and doing some early morning leagues, or like me in North America and staying up way too late playing Magic. But it is what it is. Alright, we do kind of have to go a bit quicker here. It's definitely, I mean, this is slow. It is 17 cards. We can mill 5. We got 4 turns left of them playing. Yeah, always yield. And then we're just going to play the Silex out so they can't attack. And then we're going to F6 here. F6. Yeah, this may be a problem. As I F6'd, alright, we get some of that time back. Yield until next end step. Fairly slow. And sorry that this match has taken so long. We're looking at probably just over 2 hours, but that's probably typical Lantern League. I mean, 2 hours doesn't seem that unreasonable. They don't have any ways of drawing a card. Like, come on here. It's just slow. So hopefully, I mean, I'm kind of starting to get slightly worried about this time. And we're going to use Pixis here. And we're going to hit F6. We're going to remove this upkeep stop for my turn. Blood Moon, like I don't even care about anymore. Okay. I still have one more Codex Shredder that actually speeds it up by 1 turn. I do realize I am still kind of dead to Force of Vigor. I'm going to play Beseiju and then F6. As I don't care about anything in this turn, we mill them 6 a turn. Alright, with the extra time we get back, it's going to be close. But I think we should be able to get there. Provided they don't randomly have a Shuffle Eldrazi. Okay, if they randomly have a Shuffle Eldrazi, I'm going to be beyond tilted, but come on here, come on. Sorry, I'm just going to pause the recording as I need my computer power on MTGO. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, we just did a bit of milling there. We're going to draw this Ensnaring Bridge and pass through. Definitely got a bit faster once I paused the recording. Sorry to cut you guys out for a bit, but just wanted to secure the win with what little time we had here. Obviously, like in paper, this round never goes to time. I don't know anyone in paper that would play as long as our opponent did here, but that's totally fine. Obviously, with only 22 seconds left, we were, fairly close. I guess they were a bit cheesed that we named You Are Already Dead with Pithing Needle. It can go either way. I've had people, you say name You Are Already Dead, and they go, oh yeah, yes I am, concede. And then you have people like this, don't be him, whatever. Go cry about it. Yeah, so we won this game. I think I'm likely going to split this league up into two chunks. I think I'm going to play the second one, like match 4 and 5 in a little bit. Let's give some early thoughts if we go back to the deck list. Let me just switch over here. We go. Oh, if Moto doesn't crash. We look through the first 3 games. I mean, obviously, Force of Negation has been very strong against us, specifically out of Living End. Like Rhinos is a much better matchup to begin with. So going 2-0 against Rhinos, overall 3-3 with the deck in terms of games. So I think it's performing reasonably well. Some early thoughts. I'm not totally sold on this Karn board. Kind of a few cards that, I mean, obviously just matchup dependent, but and then in terms of the main deck, I think pretty solid overall. We did have a bit of the mulligans. I think are kind of the hardest part with this deck, where there are a lot of very awkward hands when deciding when to mulligan. So if there are there are lists that play Serum Powder, that could be a card to look at. But we'll see how round 4 and 5 goes. I think I'm gonna end it here. This is going to be the wrap up for the first 3 games. This will be out on Friday. I'll probably do games 4 and 5 on Saturday. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all for round 4 and 5 tomorrow.